Okay, there it is. We'll brush it in on the bottom and it'll look really nice. So believe it or not, right after I posted my last video about this tree stand here, I got a phone call from my old buddy Larry, and he goes, "Hey Mark, I got some of that pole barn steel sitting outside behind my shed." So I went over there, and sure enough, he had 3 sheets back there. They put another door in his pole barn, and this is what they cut out of there to put the door in, and it's got a few holes in it. It was a little dented up, but I was able to straighten it out, and we're gonna put this up here on top here today, and I'm just gonna fill those holes in. Where those holes are, I'm gonna use that Flex Seal. That stuff seems to work pretty good, and that'll be good enough for this tree stand. I mean, that'll last 20 years up there yet, you know. So so we're gonna get going on this. We're gonna get this put up there today, and should work out pretty good. Thanks, Larry. So first thing you want to do before you climb up there is make sure you got all your stuff up on top. Otherwise you're gonna be going up and down and up and down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center this first piece, and then the other 2 pieces will just go over to the sides. So I got this sitting on there pretty straight now, so what I'm going to do is, seeing I forgot my pencil, I'm just going to make some scribe marks with my knife here, and that'll tell me when I lift it up to throw the caulking underneath it, I'll get it back in the same spot again without having to measure it. There, got a nice mark there. Now we're just gonna slide this up a little bit, and we're gonna put some caulking underneath there. Not so much to seal anything, but just to hold it down, help hold it down so it doesn't flop. I don't have as many boards under here you know, so it's gonna be kind of loose laying on here. Now the other thing I want to mark is I want to mark where my boards are at so that I can follow this all the way up. So I'm finding out that my screws are just a little bit short. So I'm going to run, there's a hardware store downtown, hopefully he's got some of these screws, and I'm going to run down and see if he's got some that are a little bit longer, because otherwise I'm going through an inch of foam plus the metal. And the ones I have are just made for putting right on plywood, so they're only an inch long or so they're not going to get through the styrofoam. So I just temporarily attach it with some other screws. I'll back those out and put the right ones in if I can find them. So I'll be right back. So I got a little bit longer screw. These are 2-inch. The ones I had were only like an inch and a half or something. So this should help, but it's not going to be able to go through the rib area, so I'm going to have to just screw on the flat areas of that panel, because I'm going through that inch of styrofoam. So these should work for now, temporarily. I'll have to look somewhere else for some longer 2-inch, 2.5 or 3-inch maybe, so that I can go all the way through the ribs and hold it down too. But I can do that at a later time. Okay, these are working for the area where there's no ribs. So at least I'll get this held down then. I mean, for such a short piece, as long as I got these, the front and the back edges screwed down good, I really don't think this stuff is going to go anywhere, you know. For those of you guys that are afraid to do this type of stuff, I got bad knees and I still get it done. It's not a big issue. You just can't be afraid of it, you know? So this is the shorter piece, okay? I just ripped it down. It's just going to lay on top here over this other rib, and that should work. I'm going to put some caulk on here. All right, last piece. Oh, that went up pretty good. It's almost like I made it that way. We're going to switch back to the front side here, and hopefully I can lift that up enough I gotta go up a little higher yet with my ladder. Now the question is, can I pry this up high enough to get the caulking down underneath there? I don't think I'm going to be able to. So I'll just put a bead right here at the front. I ain't going to be able to get this up. And of course, just as you get up here, I'm out. Alright, so I just put a bead of caulk here, right along the front, where I'm going to put the screws in. And that'll seal this front down, and then it shouldn't lift at all. So we're going to use Flex Seal now on all these areas where they pulled a screw through, where the hole's a little bigger than my screw, and we're just going to gob them up with this Flex Seal. Alright, that looks like I got them all. This is very stiff right now. It's not going to go anywhere. Not going to come off here. We're talking tornado, not thunderstorm. So when I first started putting this together, and I was out of styrofoam, you know, people are like, you're nuts doing that out of styrofoam. Trust me on this. This stuff is way tougher than it looks, you know. Especially, you got to get the right stuff. Don't get the white, the little beaded stuff. You got to get the pink, the Owens Corning or whatever the other. There's a couple brand names. Dow, I think, is one of them. But you got to get that heavier duty styrofoam. And I went with 1 inch, you know, so I know it was thick enough that it's going to hold up by itself. You know, short of a tornado throwing a branch through this thing, it ain't going anywhere. It really ain't. So it was the cheap alternative. It was only $11 a sheet versus buying tin is $30-something a sheet or whatever it's up to now. You know, so you know, I'm only putting tin on the roof because of the snow. If there weren't no snow around here, I wouldn't even put the tin up there. But yeah, I think this is gonna hold up just fine. So we got that done. The only thing we got to do yet is we got to push this back into the woods. So we'll get going on that shortly here. All right, 2 things I want to show you yet. This is the Flex Seal. It's called Flex Paste. This is basically like the caulking stuff. They also have the stuff in a can, and they have tape. But this goes on like caulking. Okay, this stuff works kind of fast. You know, 5 or 10 minutes, it's already you know, dry to the touch, and you can't really spread it. So if you're going to spread it with your finger or whatever, you got to do it right away to spread it around a hole or something. But this stuff seems to work pretty good. It dries more like a rubber than the caulking does. You know, the caulking is kind of plasticky and you can pull it right off. This dries more like a rubber. Like it works good for camper roofs, that type of stuff. I just used it recently on a camper roof, and it seemed to work really good on that rubber roof up there. But you know, try it. It's expensive. This is 12 bucks for one tube, so use it sparingly. Otherwise, use caulk if you can use caulk in other spots. But this works pretty darn good. So then the last thing, this is what they call a no pest strip. I put this inside my tree stand up there. There's spiders galore in there right now, and I'll just hang this up there, and you got to replace it every 3 or 4 months or something like that, I think it says. So this will keep them spiders out of there, you know, and you come in your blind and it's all full of spiders. You don't want that, you know. So I use this in my outhouse also, and it works really good in the outhouse. When we get up here, you know, after a couple weeks or whatever, you know, all the flies, everything they're all dead. So you got to sweep it up. They're still there, you know, but you got to sweep it up, but they're all dead. So, you know, this is what I'm putting in here too, you know, and that's going to hang in there all summer. And that'll keep them spiders and all that stuff out of there. So go ahead and try that. That's actually a pretty good product. Okay, there it is. We'll brush it in on the bottom and it'll look really nice.